What is a community land trust? Retains land ownership to provide affordable housing via leases/sales. What is a conservation land trust? Preserves land for nature, recreation, or agriculture, often non-profit-led. What is a real estate land trust used for? Privacy, lawsuit protection, tax savings, avoiding probate and due-on-sale clauses. REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. Flashcard 20. What are key REIT requirements? 100 plus owners, 5/50ths rule, 90% of income paid as dividends, 75% of income/assets from real estate, publicly transferable shares. Individual financiers and private loans. Flashcard 21. How can sellers help buyers with financing? Through seller financing methods like junior loans or contracts for deed. Flashcard 22. How can family members help with home buying? Each can gift up to $17,000 per year tax-free, as of 2023, must be a gift, not a loan. Flashcard 23. What are private loan companies? Lenders offering short-term, high-interest loans with collateral, often used when traditional financing isn't enough. And hashtag 128313, Truth in Lending Act, TILA, and Regulation Z. What is the purpose of TILA? To ensure consumers are informed about the cost of credit by requiring standardized disclosures from lenders. What does Regulation Z do? Implements TILA and requires lenders to disclose APR, finance charges, total financed, payment terms, and penalties. What is APR and why is it important? APR includes interest plus fees, offering a complete cost of a loan for better comparison. What is a trigger term in advertising? Specific loan terms, e.g., payment amount, that require full disclosure of all other loan conditions. What is the right of rescission? A borrower's right to cancel certain credit transactions within 3 business days, not applicable to home purchase loans. What are the penalties for violating TILA? Intentional, $5,000 fine or 12 months in jail. Unintentional, up to $1,000 in damages. Which loans are exempt from TILA? Business loans, loans to entities, utility loans, large non-home loans, some student loans. And hashtag 128313, Federal Reserve System, the Fed. What is the Fed's main role? It's the U.S. central bank, managing the money supply and interest rates to ensure economic stability. What are the Fed's main tools? Reserve requirements, interest rates, and open market operations. What happens when the Fed buys securities? Increases money supply, encourages lending and spending. What happens when the Fed sells securities? Decreases money supply, slows down the economy. How many Federal Reserve districts are there? 12 districts, each with a district bank. Who oversees open market operations? The Federal Open Market Committee, FOMC. And hashtag 128313, U.S. Treasury. What is the U.S. Treasury responsible for? Managing federal finances, issuing currency and securities, collecting taxes, enforcing financial laws, advising the president. Name 3 key Treasury bureaus. IRS, tax collection, U.S. Mint, coins, BIP, paper money, OCC, bank regulation, FinCEN, financial crimes. What was TARP? The Troubled Asset Relief Program, a response to the 2007 crisis, allowing Treasury to invest $700 billion, later $475 billion, to stabilize the economy. And hashtag 128313, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, FDIC. What does the FDIC insure? Deposits up to $250,000 per depositor per bank, checking, savings, CDs, money markets. What is not insured by the FDIC? Mutual funds, stocks, bonds, insurance products, annuities. How is the FDIC funded? From bank premiums and Treasury security earnings. And hashtag 128313, Federal Home Loan Bank, FHLB, system. What is the FHLB system? 11 regional banks that provide funds to member banks for community lending. Who regulates the FHLBs? The Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA. What can banks use as collateral with FHLB? Government securities or real estate mortgages. And hashtag 128313, money in the monetary system. What are the three properties of money? Store of value, unit of account, medium of exchange. What is M1? Most liquid form of money, cash, checking, traveler's checks. What is M2? M1 plus savings, CDs under $100,000, money markets. What is M3? M2 plus large CDs, institutional funds, non-US accounts. Who produces US coins and currency? Coins equals US Mint, paper money equals Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Real estate finance basics. Why is financing essential for homeownership? It allows buyers to pay over time, making homes affordable for more people. What's included in a typical mortgage payment? Principal and interest. Why do lenders charge interest? It's their profit and incentive to lend money. What is disintermediation? When more money is withdrawn from financial institutions than deposited, leading to reduced lending. And hashtag 128209, types of financing relationships. What is hypothecation? Using the purchased property as collateral while retaining possession. What happens if a borrower defaults under hypothecation? The lender can foreclose on the property. How is a pledge different from hypothecation? In a pledge, the borrower gives the property to the lender until the loan is repaid. What is leverage in real estate? Using borrowed funds to control a large asset with a small investment. What's the difference between a mortgage and a deed of trust? Mortgage, borrower holds both legal and equitable title. Deed of trust, trustee holds legal title, borrower holds equitable title. Real estate supply and demand. What increases real estate supply? New construction, renovations, more listings, lower building costs. What market exists when supply exceeds demand? Buyer's market. What increases real estate demand? High employment, rising wages, low interest rates, loan availability. What market exists when demand exceeds supply? Seller's market. Generational housing trends. Silent generation. Prefer small, low-maintenance homes. Low median income, often retired. Baby boomers. Many plan to downsize. Most want to age in place. Gen X. Largest group of first-time buyers. Tech-savvy, mobile, want green homes. Millennials, Gen Y. Delay marriage/family, often live urban. 97% finance homes, prefer tech-enabled housing. Gen Z. Still emerging in the market. Highly mobile and social media driven. Social and tax considerations. What happens if growth is too fast in a community? Strain on schools, infrastructure, and services. What tax act made it easier to sell a home tax-free? Taxpayer Relief Act of 1997. What did the Mortgage Forgiveness Debt Relief Act do? Prevented forgiven mortgage debt from being taxed after foreclosure. What was the goal of the American Taxpayer Relief Act, 2012? Extend homeowner tax relief and mortgage insurance deductions. Economic information resources. How can banking analysts help licensees? By understanding underwriting standards to help buyers qualify. What is the role of Fannie Mae? Sets loan standards and supports the secondary mortgage market. What info does the FHFA and Freddie Mac provide? Market trends, refinancing, home prices, useful for comparison. What's the function of Ginnie Mae? Guarantees government-insured loans and educates consumers. Whitecheck IRS.gov. For tax incentives and rules impacting homeownership. How does RealtyTrack help agents? Provides foreclosure trends and market data. What data does the U.S. Census Bureau offer? Population and housing trends useful for spotting opportunities. Real estate market cycles. What are the four phases of the real estate cycle? Expansion, oversupply, recession, recovery. What happens during the expansion phase?